Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes.
Welcome to From the Seven Podcast, where we bring a different perspective to the mindsets for the real world. I'm your boy Deuce, always with me, my right-hand man, Stat. Today we're going to give y'all great content on why you should leave your city. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for a lot of people out there. A lot of people think their city is the world. It's not true. Before we dive into all that, though, quick announcements.
Yep. Guys, so make sure you're following us on Instagram, From the Seven Podcast. We're also on TikTok. You can follow me at StatZay, Deuce at _Deuce West. You can also get the Stat merch at the link in my bio. As always, From the Seven merch is still on the way. Don't worry though, we got some fire for y'all on the way for that.
Coming soon, man. It's coming.
It's coming soon. But yeah, we appreciate everybody that's been showing love, man. It's been a great journey so far. A lot of value, a lot of content, a lot of people reaching out and showing us love. As you guys know, our goal right now is to hit 1,000 subscribers for us to be able to continue to bring this value and level up everything that we got going on. If you got something from the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, watch it a couple times if you need to. But again, we appreciate everyone that's been showing support, everyone that's been, tapping in with us, all of the messages. It keeps us going, man, to be honest with you, because it's not the easiest thing to do this, but it's something that's very fulfilling for us and something that, we have a big vision for. And so we just want to say thank you again to everybody that's been showing that love. But this is going to be a good episode, man. Talking about leaving your hometown. Me and Deuce both have experience with that, and this is something that, a lot of people might not understand, but after this video, you'll definitely understand. So I think we're good with the announcements, bro. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Absolutely, man. I even had several conversations on this topic. A lot of the conversations with you, and it's something that kind of blows my mind because of the fact that I did leave my city. When you talk to people who haven't left their city, it's the same conversation.
Yeah.
And that proves the point of how important it is to leave your city, because your mind stays small when you stay in your city.
Yeah.
Because that's what you think the world is.
Yeah.
And I remember vividly, bro, we were at JR House, and I told you I was moving to Florida and you was moving to Vegas.
Yep.
And at that time, we both, besides going to school for college, that was our first time actually stepping away from our city.
Yep.
And
as adults.
As adults, too, absolutely. And the knowledge that you've gained, the knowledge that I've gained, when we came back together, bro, we understood that a big part of that was us leaving that what we thought the world was, bubble at that time. I want you to talk on your experience, bro, of what helped you when you left Richmond, right? What helped you captivate the mind that you have now so you can tell others that how much it helped you to leave your city?
Yeah. And as you know, in our last episode, we talked about self-awareness, and one of the points that we touched on is being able to take risk and attack the unknown. And when the opportunity came up for me to move to Vegas, I didn't really hesitate on it. It was something that I jumped on. I was trying to do training at the time. It was an opportunity for me to go out there and work with Impact Basketball and do some stuff out there. And it was definitely, it's like the first year of college that you have where you start to realize, like, man, I'm finding out a lot about myself, right? But it's another level to it because now you're an adult, and now it's not the college atmosphere, and it's a lot of stuff that you don't really understand when you get into the real world. And by putting yourself in a new place like that, you start to see really how the world works and the reality of what it is. And I remember the first day that I got to Vegas. Now, mind you, my first time ever seeing Vegas was when I was going to live there. I'd never been to Vegas prior to that, right?
That's huge. That's huge.
And I remember going into the mall, and I'll never forget this, man. It was a dude who was working at a kiosk. He was working a job where they always selling you, like, sign up for this or do this, and you don't even know what it is because it just sounds like a used car salesman, right? And I remember telling him, like, look, man, I'm good. I just moved here. Like, I ain't that person that you trying to get, right? And this man said, you just moved here. Oh, you need to get out. And I just remember thinking like, yo, this is crazy because no matter where you go, there's somebody trying to get out. And how
That's
many
his
people,
city. That's his city.
you know what I'm saying? And how many people, because of where they grew up at, they don't even appreciate where they're from, or they don't even see the opportunity because, again, they're in that small bubble. And for me, I'm seeing so much opportunity going to Vegas. The first day I'm there, there's somebody who all they know is Vegas, and they're like, no, you need to get out of here because of what their normal is. And there's two sides to that, right? Because, of course, he's probably dealt with some things and seen some things, but when you don't expand outside of where you're from, it's hard to understand and appreciate where you're at. You know what I mean? And a lot of the things that I learned there was, you know, everybody has their own struggle and everybody has their own normal, and the decisions that they make on a day-to-day basis come down to what that normal is, right? And as you get into the real world, you know, self-awareness, when you look at that, you're going to see how people respond to things. And us coming from a sports background, this is where it really hit me, where it's like sports really equipped us to understand and have an advantage in life. Because when you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself, you learn skills and you learn traits that in the real world, when you start to be around people who didn't have to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and they just can show up in life every day and just get a paycheck, or just show up and be that guy who's like, oh, you got to get out of here and just kind of take life day by day with no direction, you start to understand, man, my normal of coming from that sports background, I'm kind of needing that right now, because it's very easy to fall into that. You get that job and you start working around 50 other people that think like that guy. 10 years from that point, now you're like, man, what happened? And I think moving to Vegas allowed me to see that, and I had to really take a step back and say, who am I? And one of the things that I learned as well, I was there and I was trying to find a job. It took me a month, like a legit 30 days to find a job. And I remember how frustrating that was for me because of my expectation of who I was. And I remember getting that first job, and the girl who worked there with me was like, you only been here a month? I was like, yeah, man, I can't believe it took me that long to find a job. She said, what you mean? I know people, my own family that been here 10, 12 years still looking for a job, you know? And that to me was cool because it's like, man, it validated who I was without her even noticing it, man. And, you know, I say all that to say this: when you move out of your hometown, it allows your perspective to grow twofold. You see who you are, and you see other people, and you see the world for what it truly is, because you don't have the friends around you, the family around you to kind of coddle your belief system. You see it for exactly what it is, and you see yourself in the mirror every single day, and you got to decide, do you want to become what you see every day, or are you going to tap into who you are, man? And I think that was one of the biggest things that I saw with initially moving out of, you know, Richmond and going to somewhere like Vegas.
Yeah, bro. I think, you know, our stories are a little different when it comes to, you know, what made us move. I know, you know, yours was kind of like it just kind of happened for you, right? I was able to see a different side of life, and I chose that different side, right? So,
because you was able to go before you actually.
Yeah, moved. Bro. I shout out my brother Sheldon, man. Love that dude to death, man. He was like the perfect guide to show me that different side of life. Like, bro, I went to Tampa for a weekend. It was supposed to be I'm just spring break. I'm gonna get out, you know, enjoy myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Every detail, right, to the smallest details of him picking me up at the airport with sunglasses on, the windows down, the music playing, like it was a movie.
Yep.
Right? Richmond, you're not really getting that. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got on shades, it don't hit the same.
You know, you look out of place for real if you got
shades almost
on, the windows down to the top off.
But every detail, bro, for him from him doing that to us going to now his wife, shout out Bree, my sister, her restaurant, and you know, her coming over and just meeting me for the first time, embracing me. What y'all need? What y'all drinking? Everything half off. So we in that joint getting good food, great service. This is girl.
Yeah.
Great drinks, and for a cheap price. What is life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
moved out.
I'm like, what is life?
Yeah.
And you know, that was just the beginning, bro. Everything was super planned out for this dude. He was like, I want you to see this. I want you to see that, because that's probably what he had when he came down to Tampa. He went down there by himself, but Sheldon's an outgoing guy. So he was able to be in those places by himself. He like, now I'm going to take somebody else with me, somebody that I care about, somebody that I grew up with. So for us to be in the same neighborhood, for us to be from the same place, essentially, to him showing me the ropes of what the other side of life has to offer, oh, bro, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
I went back to Richmond and I sat down with myself and I was like, yo, I got to get the hell out of here, because that world was a totally different world, bro. I promise you, I could have thought I was on Mars, to be honest. And that's what made me really, really go hard at moving. And it took me a month. I visited July 4th. I moved August 15th. It took me a month, and all the struggles that I had was like, nah. I'm gonna get through this, because this is where I need to be, because I need to have my mind be expanded to this level. For sure. And until you leave your city, you don't know what level that level is, because the level that you have is so comfortable. And we talked about this in the last episode. People just want to be comfortable, right? I was in an uncomfortable position, going somewhere that I had no ties to. I had one person essentially, and I had to make it work. Yeah. But I looked at the bigger picture, and that bigger picture was, no. You got so much growth and so much learning ability to be in this place and to expand your mind that you need to do this. So all the little jobs, the tedious jobs that I did, it was worth it. And I understood that, because, and it's no knock on people who want to stay in their city. There's no knock on that. But if you don't leave your city first to realize that you want to go back to your city, you are playing small. Yep. You are playing small, because you got to get out. Once you get out, you can make the decision. Now, that's your decision to make. But I knew once I got out of Richmond, my family's there. Home is always going to be where your heart is. I visit often. But I can never see myself living in Richmond again unless I'm retired, I'm 50, I'm 60, and that's just where God places me. But if I had a choice, a decision to make, where am I going to reside? Where am I going to lay my head tonight? I'm not choosing Richmond, because I understand how Richmond minds can stay at a Richmond mindset, and you get stuck in that place. You get stuck in that place. And it was no coincidence, bro, that we both were able to leave at the same exact time, able to come back. And I know you still stay in Richmond, right? Yep. But me and you talk about this constantly. You understand the decision that you want to stay in Richmond is not ultimately yours, but you understand that there's more to life than what Richmond has to offer. And because you left, and because you understood that, you seek for that. It's not like you stuck in like you just in a comfortable position. It's just one of those things that you gotta witness, bro. You gotta witness, because it's scary when you think your city is the world, right? And I can share this short little story real quick. I was in Lynchburg. I was working at the Holiday Inn, and there was a maintenance guy. I forgot his name, but cool dude, man. Always showed me the utmost respect. And like Reese said, when he was sitting on this couch, bro, the janitors is the people that I show the most respect to, because I understand their grind. I understand their hustle. He was the maintenance guy, right? He wasn't a janitor, but he was the maintenance guy. He did all the dirty work for the hotel. But he had a conversation with me one time. I was on lunch, and he asked me what I was going to do for the weekend. And I said I was going home. He was like, home? You going home? And I'm like, yeah, because it was the summertime. I wasn't playing ball at the time. And I was like, I'm going home. He was like, yo, I haven't left Lynchburg since 1985. Hey. And when he said that, I'm like, yo, it was 2014 at the time. What? Almost 30 years and you haven't left? And Lynchburg, bro, no knock on Lynchburg. I love the people in the city of Lynchburg.
You got to get out, though.
Nothing bad to say about Lynchburg, but there's nothing there besides the universities.
Yeah, if that's all you know, that's crazy.
He hasn't left in the last 30 years.
Yeah, so much has changed in 30 years, and he only probably know how much has changed because of that.
When he said that to me, it made me realize that really I can blindfold this man, take him to Richmond, take off the blindfold, and he really thought he was in Vegas. Yeah, he don't even know what the outside world looked like.
For sure.
And when he said he hasn't left since 1985, where he went in 1985 was Norfolk, Virginia. So he I don't even know. But before that, I don't know where he went. He dead serious, bro. He could say I never left Virginia.
Yeah.
And if he said that to me, that's super scary because he don't even know really what's out there.
Yep.
And I share that story to share it because of the fact that I don't want anybody to be like him, man. Like, nobody has a perfect life. I'm not saying that because you are in a city and that's your city, you think it's comfortable and it's okay to be there and it's going to be perfect. It's still not going to be perfect if you leave. You may go somewhere else and get into some turmoil.
Yeah.
But you want to have the experiences of understanding and realizing the visual of what life has to offer.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important to get out of your city, man, because what you see is not the reality. It's not. Like, you can go somewhere else and see a totally different reality, come back and appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But you got to step out first and see that.
Nah, for
Right.
sure. And, you know, I think, too, moving out of your hometown allows you to appreciate where you're from a lot more. And us being from Richmond, some people see it as a big city, but it's really a small city. And I think it allows you to appreciate it even more because you start to, when you go see these other places, you start to realize, like, man, that's the place that made me who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and this is who I am in every place that I walk into. And I study a lot of successful people, and, you know, no matter, like, a lot of the entertainers, right? I was looking at Master P. They did the documentary on No Limit, and I didn't even know he moved out of Louisiana before he got popping. He lived in the Bay Area, and, you know, his reason for it was because people didn't show him the same love there until he got on, which I think that's something that needs to be pointed out as well. You know, moving out of your city expands your vision, and a lot of times, whether you move out of your city or not, when you expand your vision of what you want to do with your life, if all you know is your city and the people that are around you, there's not going to be a lot of stuff unless you have a situation that builds that up. It's not going to be a lot of people that's going to support that vision because a lot of those people didn't get out either. And I'm not talking about going on vacation, getting out the city. I'm talking about being somewhere else where you are a part of a different culture and you're able to immerse yourself in that. And getting out of your hometown not only makes you appreciate where you're from, but it expands your vision to a point where it allows you to say, you know what, because I know where we come from, people don't see this, I have to make this work now because I can bring this back home. And people like Master P did that. Even somebody like Trey Songz, who's from Virginia, from Petersburg, he went to New Jersey before he got put on because he understood he had to expand his vision if he wanted to do music, right? Chris Brown from Virginia, same thing. Tappahannock, is it Tappahannock?
Tappahannock,
Tappahannock, Virginia, right outside of Richmond, is a country town, and he got discovered in Tappahannock, but he had to get out of there to really get to the level that he was, right? J. Cole, someone who's one of the greatest rappers to come out of North Carolina and come
Fayetteville.
out of any, you know what I'm saying? Fayetteville, right? He was in New York chasing down Jay-Z and trying to put himself around those things. And, you know, it's
renting out a room at that point. He was renting out
a room to follow his dream. And there's not a lot of places that you can say you're from that. It's not like everywhere is Atlanta, right? Because Atlanta is one of those special places where those guys come up there and they build each other up, and it's a special thing that they got going on. But a lot of places that you come from don't have that, especially a place like Richmond. So for me, expanding that vision was huge for me. And then as I studied successful people and saw that they did the same things, even if they were from like Master P, you know, you got people from New Orleans, you got people from these places, they still had to get out and build that network, which I think was important as well. You expand your network because no matter what you do, the people where you from are they're gonna hate on it more than they're gonna show love to, because they're gonna say, man, no, why he get to do what I should be doing? I want to do that, right? But when you go out to these other places, I remember going to Vegas, and it was this girl who lived in my apartment building, and she told me, she gave me her number just because that's how that, like in Vegas, like that's just what it is. I'm sure the same thing in Tampa. It's like you network with people, right?
Absolutely, networking. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Networking is huge, and networking is different outside of your city. And I remember her telling me, make sure you put everybody's last name in your phone because people are gonna do that, right? And that stuck with me. I always put people's last name in the phone, and ever since that day, everybody I came across with in Vegas or any other city that I've been in, they attach themselves to who I truly am and not oh, this is Isaiah from Fallen Creek that I remember, or Isaiah from Beulah, or Isaiah from the Iron Gate. This is a person that, I mean, you know this, me going out to LA with my mentor, the conversations in the rooms that I'm in, when I'm spreading my vision at this point in my life, it hits different when you're in a room full of people that can just respect who you are and what you represent. The people who are where you from, no knock on it, they're not going to show you that same love, or they're not going to embrace you that same way.
But you want to know
what I mean?
why though? And I think it's a key point, a key thing to point out is your minds are the same, bro. Like by default, you know, and by default, your minds are the same. So when your mind starts to expand in your same city, that doesn't mean that everybody else's mind is going to expand the same with you. Yep. So when you, like you said, we can be in the same city. I can be doing my thing. Mm-hmm. They only remember you from Isaiah from Beulah. Yep. They only remember you from Isaiah from Community or Meadowbrook. They don't understand that you're evolving and you're changing. Yep. It takes the people on the outside to understand you from a fresh point of view and understand that. And that's what kind of helped me when I moved to Florida too, because moving to Florida was the best thing that ever happened to me. And Tampa will always be my second home, and I will always cherish all the memories I have in Tampa, all the people I came across, everybody that I was able to touch and who touched me as well. I'm going to remember that. But one key thing that I remember is when I became a resident, like when I truly became a resident, like you said, it's not a vacation. When that was my home, like I would go on vacation and come back to that. Like that was where I resided. Yeah. It made me appreciate more to life even after that. Because now, quick little story again, I visited, and you know this, I had like a little West Coast tour, right? I went out to Arizona. Shout out my boy Hayden. Love Hayden to death, man. Hayden was in Arizona at the time. Went to see Hayden, shot up to Seattle, shot down to Portland, see my brother Omar. Shout out O. During that time, during that visit, I had so many different emotions of different parts of life at that point. Like, never been to Arizona. I was able to experience that with my brother. Hayden was able to show me things. I'm like, yo, what? I'm seeing, sunshine and mountains. What's going on? Yeah. I'm thinking I'm in Tampa, like sunshine and palm trees is together. Now I'm seeing sunshine and mountains. What the heck? Shoot up to Seattle. Oh, shoot. This is a crazy city, but it's overcast. It's cloudy. It's rainy. Shoot down to Portland. Damn, it's the same thing. It's like a nice little looking city, but it's overcast, and this is what people really choose to live, and their day-to-day is the same way. Yep. When I got back to Florida, bro, I appreciated the sun. That's how small but big that thing is, bro. Yeah. I appreciated the sun because from the last half of my trip, I didn't get that. Yeah. Those people that's from Seattle, bro, they don't think about stuff like that because they are expecting overcast. They're expecting rain. Absolutely. Seattle got the highest suicide rate. Last time I checked, I could be wrong now, in the U.S. And the weather plays a big part of that. Yeah. When you're not from there or you don't visit, you don't understand how that can be a part of it till you're there.
It's not your normal.
It's not your norm. So imagine people who are from there that's able to witness something else because they think that that's what life is like. Yep. Bro, it'd be times in Florida, bro, we don't see a cloud for 7 days. Sunshine, bro. It's like, what? I got back to that. I'm like, yo, this is, and I always told my mom this too. Every time I visited Richmond, I feel like I had a lens on. It was like a black and white lens. And then Florida was in color. Like I'm watching TV, I'm watching in color in Florida. And then when I go somewhere else, it's like a black and white lens. It's because like the reality of the situation is life has so many things that can throw at you. You can experience so many different things. And because you choose to leave your city, you're losing all that benefit of what you can truly find, what's for you, and life outside of what you think it is. Yep. That's the most important part, bro, because that experience that I had changed my life forever. Forever, bro. And it happened because of one small trip to Tampa, Florida that changed my life completely. And it's amazing, bro. And to even sit here and talk about it with you when you didn't even visit Vegas ever, that was just your first landing spot.
Man, mind blowing, bro.
How much information you've taken from that, bro.
It's changed everything, bro.
Not to say that you wouldn't have done it. If you don't go to Vegas, you don't meet the people in LA.
Absolutely.
If you don't meet the people in LA, you don't have the mindset and the goal and the hunger and what you have now.
Absolutely.
If you don't do those things, if I don't do what I did, guess what we doing?
We in Richmond.
Going to AmFam now.
And
Being those same dudes.
Still looking forward to going to AmFam every week. And, you know, what's crazy about that is this. Shout out to Coach Dank at EMU. I don't shout out enough of those guys at EMU because for those that know. But shout out to Coach Dank. I remember he was in the cafeteria one day. He wasn't even talking to me, but I was observing so much. This was in college back in like 2011. And I remember him talking, and one of the guys on the team said something stupid out his mouth. And Coach Dank, being the older, wise guy, would just look back, and all he said was, "Hey, man, life is all about perspective." And at the time, I didn't understand what he meant. But ever since that day, that has rung true so much, man. And when we look at the world that we live in, right, there's a huge lack of perspective because we are now conditioned even more to stay where we're at and just cut on the TV or pull up our phone and just watch what people put together for us to see, right? And listening to everything that you're talking about and understanding even my experience from being in these different places, it allows you to gain a different perspective. And, bro, I haven't watched the news since, like, middle school because I saw how it affected my mom. She had to watch the news, and I'm like, this ain't affecting my life, and it's only affecting her negatively in the way that she sees things. And I saw that at a young age, and then when I was able to get out of Richmond, I understood, man, it ain't what they show you on TV. But if that's all you see is on TV, that's what you're going to think it is. And that's when you got these Facebook warriors and these Twitter warriors and all these people that say all this stuff with nothing to back it. I look at those people now as somebody who, like the guy who never left Lynchburg, and I'm not saying he's that same person, but those are the type of people that fall into that, where it's like you can get on and start talking without any facts and think that you know what you're talking about. And when you put yourself in a situation to, like we talked about in the last episode, audit yourself and become self-aware, and then that leads to you being uncomfortable and doing things like leaving your hometown and following, you know, whatever it is that you want to follow. By doing that, it allows you to gain a perspective that you can take into every room that you walk in. Like you just said, everything that I learned from Vegas, I would have not been able to make the impact and the moves that I made in LA without that perspective, because one thing that it made me do, in addition to me saying it makes me appreciate being from Richmond, I've become more of who I am because of those two things. Yep. And now when I go to LA, or when I'm in a situation where I'm the only black guy in the room, right, I'm coming there being myself because I have that perspective of this is where I come from, and I understand you might not know what that means, but you're who you are because of where you come from as well. And I'm going to be able to shed a new perspective on life because I'm embracing all those things that made me who I am, and because I'm self-aware. We're all in here to do the same mission, but I'm doing it a little bit different, and you're going to be able to take something from that you can say, man, he ain't who I thought he was, man. I like him. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's how you change the world, and that's why this is important, like, to understand. Again, we're not saying move out of your hometown just because, but understand the impact that it can make, even on the grand scheme of things when we're talking about the world that we live in. And again, it comes back to perspective. The more perspective that you can gain, you can move differently, and you can understand what the reality of the world that we live in is, and you can move with that, and you start to see different things, and you start to apply yourself to the things that you say, you know what, because I'm good at this is my way to impact the world, because there's a lack of perspective here, and the perspective that I've gained from doing all these things and moving away and finding out who I am, I can insert that into here. And I say this all the time. I don't care if I'm a billionaire tomorrow. There's going to be people I can't reach because they only can be reached by you and your story. And without me taking the responsibility to become self-aware and do the work that we're talking about, I don't get to reach those people, and I don't get to see that opportunity when I walk in that room and say, this was meant for me to come in here and make that change.
Yeah, and it goes back to the comfort zone that we always,
Absolutely.
talk about.
Absolutely.
It's getting out of your comfort zone. It's tough. Like, bro, going to a new city isn't easy,
At all.
especially if you don't know anybody, let alone trying to find a job, trying to find an apartment or a house. Trying to assert yourself in that new city is not easy.
Trying to deal with being by yourself in your thoughts in the midst of all of that.
Going back to what we talk about all the time as well. You sit with yourself.
Yeah.
Your true self. You have nobody to call up and hey, I'm gonna come kick it with you or this and that. Like, you got yourself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I learned a lot more about myself when I came to Charlotte. Shout out my brother Alex, the other Stat.
Shout out Stat.
He was 45 minutes away from me. He got me here, but he was still 45 minutes away. So after practice, bro, I would come home and I'd be by myself. And I had to sit with myself and understand, like, damn, like, what's going on? But because of Tampa, it made it a lot easier, right? Because this wasn't my first rodeo. I wasn't new to not being in my city, but it was like, yo, damn, like, me, myself, and I, right? It didn't help that I was going through situations in my personal life, but it did help at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was able to sit on that, reflect, and gain more of myself. I lost a lot of myself, but in the midst, it kind of slingshotted me to understand who I was more at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And I had uncomfortable times where people try to avoid, and we talk about that all the time. People want to avoid those uncomfortable situations, but that's the main thing that's going to help you grow is getting out of your comfort zone. And I think that's the most important part of moving is understanding that you can't quit when it gets uncomfortable.
Yep.
You got to actually keep going. You got to press harder when it gets uncomfortable. Forward. Yep. You got to push forward. And, I had to do that so many times when I was in Florida just to stay. But I understood that it was going to be important for me to stay because guess what would have happened? If I would have experienced that and went back to Richmond, like forcefully, like, damn, I can't keep up or I got to move back to Richmond. My mind would have been so I would have been scarred to a situation of having to answer to, damn, why you come back or why you do this? My norms would have became normal again. Like I would have been put back in a situation where I know like, damn, it's more to life, but I would have been placed back into that. And maybe my mind would have subsided to that and I would have been comfortable again. And damn, I just want to be comfortable. And I would have stayed in that spot. Yep. And I don't think that would have helped me at all. I think it would have hurt me more than it would have helped me for sure. And I love going back. And I know I go back for small amounts of time, but every time I try to go back, I try to give that perspective of it's more to life to my peers, to my friends, to my family. And I want them to do the same because it's going to take that one time for you to experience something that you never want to let go. But the most important part is you have to get to that first time. And a lot of people don't even want to get to that first time because, again, it's uncomfortable stepping outside your comfort zone. And it's a box around you, and it's labeled comfort. And after you cross that line, it's uncomfortable. You don't want to stick your toe in that.
Yeah.
But you understand that if you stick your whole foot in it, one more step is comfort again. You know what I mean? Yep. And I encourage everybody, man, to leave your city because once you leave your city, you're by default leaving your comfort zone. And it's going to make you a lot stronger.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's dope, bro. And, the fact that we can relate, like you said, is huge because, even with us doing this podcast, we understand, like you said, we have people that are showing their true colors a little bit in response to seeing what we're doing here. And I think it makes it easier to pinpoint, like, when you have stretched your comfort zone because you can kind of look back and see, like, man, like, I would have never saw that if I didn't stretch my mind. And until you actually are in it and doing it, it's hard to really understand. Like, even somebody that's listening to this right now, it might be hard to really grasp what we're saying. And I don't say that to downplay anybody that feels that way. But when you put yourself in a situation to do what we're talking about, a lot of things start to make sense because, again, it comes back to where your comfort zone is. And if you've never left your comfort zone, this is going to hit you a lot quicker than you think if you actually get outside of your hometown. and you have to sit there and look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself those questions. Or if you take on a venture like us here, we got out our comfort zone to start this podcast, and a lot of people don't see that. They see everything that we're doing here, but understand the effort and the intention that we putting behind this podcast is because of how much we got out our comfort zone to make this happen.
Hey, listen, bro, this ain't even to, people are still not gonna understand what you just said.
Yeah.
But we understand it, and we always laugh about it. George was sitting right here. Shout out George, man.
Shout out G.
A real true dude. He really looked at us and told us, like, yo, people don't see what y'all doing, man. As far as what y'all doing outside of what y'all actually doing, what they see.
Yeah.
Y'all could lose everything. Jog back to Richmond. We laugh about that all the time.
Yeah. Because it's that real. Though.
And it's that real, bro. And people don't understand that this is the most uncomfortable thing we've probably ever done.
Every day we wake up and want to quit, bro.
Every day.
Let's just keep it 1,000.
Every day. And but what prevents us from quitting is the things that we had to go through before.
Absolutely. Everything we talking about right now.
If this was our first uncomfortable comfort zone moment, this would have been over.
We would have
stopped the episode 2.
We wouldn't even have made the decision to do it.
That too, but we would have stopped the episode 2.
Absolutely.
It would have been over. But I think that's the key thing is it doesn't just align with what you're doing in that moment. It aligns with your whole life. Once you decide to step out your comfort zone, any uncomfortable situation that comes after that, you've been there before.
Absolutely.
You understand that if I keep going, I know it's sunshines and rainbows on the other side.
Absolutely.
But if you don't never take that first leap, you think it's just all hell on the other side. So you stop and you quit.
Yeah.
And that's the true testament to who we are, bro, and what we've been through, because this shit is not easy. This is not easy, bro. Like, we put a lot of effort, we put a lot of money into it, and as of right now, we're not seeing tangible or monetary results, but we understand our vision, and we understand that it's clear to us.
Yeah.
And the right people are going to support us, and the right people are going to see it, and we see it through. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because we understand what uncomfortable feels like is what keeps us going. I think that's
the goal of what we're trying to do, man. We talked about this when Reese was here. The mission and the goal of this platform and what we're talking about and the value we're trying to add here all comes back to the same mission that's sitting right there in the middle that we all trying to get to. And, to touch on, again, us leaving our hometowns, you start to understand at the end of the day, man, life is really simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. At the end of the day, we all just trying to make a better life for us and the legacy that we leave. At the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do, and we're all more alike than we're different. But understanding that what we're talking about here is we are trying to get other people to understand this for themselves, because the impact that you guys are going to make by grasping these things, and if you're already at that point, understanding to when it does get tough to keep pushing because it's somebody else's life depends on you doing that. That's why we don't quit. That's why we show up every day. That's why we put the effort and the time and the money into this podcast, because there's people that reach out to us at this point daily that tell us how much this is impacting them.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we don't quit is because we understand those same people, and the people who are watching this right now, listening to me talk, are going to tap into these things. And if they understand and grasp these things, there's going to be somebody that's going to reach out to them and reach out to you that's going to say the same thing because you tapped in with us. And that is why it's bigger than us, and we understand that, and why we show up every day and say, no, we can't quit. Because if we quit, the person that's 10 years down the road that's going to need us, if we quit now, they'll never even know, and they might fall through the cracks, and that might be the person that changes the world. And Tupac said that. I don't remember the exact quote, but he said, I'm just trying to, you never know. I'm just trying to change that one person that might change the world. That's so true. But you can't do that until you leave your comfort zone, until you become self-aware, until you put yourself in those situations to see, who am I really? And the reason why you want to know who you are really is because that person 10 years down the line is going to have the same, if not identical, story to you, and the only person they can relate to is you. And if you quit, you're not that person for them anymore, and it might not be anybody else that can do that.
Yep.
So again, that's the importance of what we're trying to do with these topics, what we're trying to do with this platform, what we're even trying to do for ourselves, because we have to sit here and take the same advice that we're giving. And again, we're trying to build a community around that. It's not just we're sitting here telling people what to do. No, we're trying to bring people in to the fight with us because we all have a common goal. We're just trying to get people to see that. And the first step is getting out of that comfort zone like you're talking about.
Yep. And the last thing I'm going to say, this has been a great episode because of the fact that I understand the importance of what we're talking about. I understand it, and I've been through it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any videos to look at to understand how important it was before I made my decision. But one thing I want to, close us out with is understanding that you control your life, right? You control your life. You control everything that happens in your life. And you also control how you bounce back from things that are unexpectedly coming into your life. But one thing I can say is you control when people say, I can't leave because I don't have the money, or I can't leave because I don't have the right situation. The moment that you decide that you're going to wait for the perfect situation to leave is the moment that you're going to stay in that comfort zone. Yep. Because when I left, I had $1,000 to my name, uncomfortable as hell. And I understood that you don't really know who you are until your back is up against the wall and it's you and you. When it's you and you, and it's nobody to look left to, Mom, can I have this? There's nobody to look right to, Dad, can I have this? There's nobody to look forward to. Yo, can you help me? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I had plenty of situations like that when I was in Florida. What are you going to do? And you got to figure it out, and you got to be in tune with who you are. Because if you're not in tune with who you are, you're going to become somebody that's back up against the wall, and you're going to end up being a coward at that point. Yep. And the reason I use that word is because you're going to chicken out, and guess what you're going to do? I'm going to go back to what's comfortable to me.
And that's always going to be the easiest decision.
That's the easiest decision.
Yeah.
That's the easiest decision. It's so many times I'm like, yo, damn, I can just go back to Richmond. Mm-hmm. Why am I struggling? Why can I not go out and have fun? I don't have the money. Yeah. I can go home, stay with whoever, not pay rent, be comfortable. Why should I do that? Mm-hmm. That's what I used to ask myself. And I said, you know what? No, I got to figure this out. Yep. I got to figure this out. It's 3 jobs, bro. Funny story, I don't even mind sharing. And really, this will be the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you close this out. I'm working at a bank in Florida, Chase Bank. Say the name. Shout out Chase Bank. Jamie Dimon. I'm working at Chase Bank. I'm a teller, right? Working part-time. And I'm Uber driver. And I work at Jimmy John's. So potentially, this is what I used to do. I used to Uber before I came to work or right after. Work at Chase. Get off. Go deliver Jimmy's. That's what we used to call him. Shout out my brother Josh. He's so funny. He's like, you slanging Jimmy's, pause. But like, you slanging Jimmy's. I do that at nighttime, right? So potentially, bro, I can pick you up in the morning, take you to work. You come by the bank, see me at the teller line. You go home, you order Jimmy John's, I can deliver it to you. You can see me at three different positions in the same day. That actually happened to me besides the Uber driver. A guy came in the bank, did a deposit. All right, man. Have a good day. He went home from his day at work, ordered a sandwich from Jimmy John's. Freaky fast. Freaky fast. I got off work. I go to my next job. Same street. It's crazy. It's the same street. I go to his house, rang the doorbell. Again, we freaky fast, bro. So he just probably ordered the sandwich. Yeah. And in his head, he just left the bank.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
He just left the bank.
Yep.
But he probably could have did that a couple hours.
Yep.
And he answered the door, bro, and it's like he saw a ghost, bro. He's like, what the? Yeah. Just saw me in it, bro. I'm at Chase Street. I dress up, so I got a tie on, looking crazy, looking nice. Now I got this freaky fast shirt on, hat, smell like lettuce.
Cold cuts.
And he looked at me, he's like, bro, you good? And when he said that to me, I understood that he didn't even understand at that moment how important and how much I was willing to grind to stay out of my comfort zone. Because nobody really sees that and understands that until you're actually in it.
Oh yeah.
He didn't know, yo, this dude back against the wall. He just thinking like, yo, are you crazy? Nah, I'm not crazy. My back up against the wall. I'm willing to do what I got to do to get out of this position.
Yep.
And he said, hold on, man. He went in and gave me an extra tip, bro. Because he's like, yo, you grinding, bro.
Yeah.
And after that moment, when he came into the bank, he would talk to me like, yo, I really bang with you because of the fact that you are a super grinder, bro. Like, you're not just out here talking. You're not out here. You see something that you want and you're going after it. And I can respect that. Yep. And that's what people got to understand is when you take these leaps, when you leave your city, your back is going to get bumped up against that wall. And that decision is going to kind of either set you back, and you're going to get back into your comfort zone, and you're going to go to where it's easy, or you're going to have to look at yourself and say, it's time to grind, and I'm willing to do whatever I got to do to get from my back up against this wall to walk out. And once you walk out, bro, you're going to see the world from a totally different lens.
Oh, that's facts, man. That's a dope story, man. And it's funny because you say freaky fast, but like it's just crazy that you really delivered to this dude that was at the bank. But and I'll close this out, man. This is a great conversation, man. And what's dope, man? It's a saying that goes, ordinary people do extraordinary things.
Whoa.
And to hear you talk about the guy after that come back into the bank and show you a different level of respect.
Yep.
It puts things in perspective even in today, because we live in a world where everybody's chasing the rareness of things. Everybody want the Lambo because nobody else got it because they want to flex. Everybody want the perfect relationship because they see everybody else complaining about men and women. Everybody wants the money because they see everybody faking and doing all this other stuff. And when you look at the true successes in the world and you dig deep into their story, it always looks like what you just explained. And like you said, people don't see that. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say this, man, like, just because we just some regular dudes speaking on us, don't think we don't understand what we talking about. Success is a lot more common and simple than you think when it comes down to what you need to do. And people overcomplicate it and want the shortcut, but it ain't no shortcut. It's understanding everything that we're talking about right now and applying it to your life the best way that it fits for you to make the impact that you need to make. And when you put yourself in a situation where you do those things that you might look crazy for, on the back end of that is that respect that you're looking for that people are chasing. Again, we live in a world where people chase that every day with social media. But people are taking that shortcut because it's easy to set up a picture today one time to get this and post it. Mm-hmm. But when you sit down with that person and you have a conversation, and you sit down with the person that's actually successful and have a conversation, you can see it's a clear difference. Mm-hmm. And the difference is the person who's really successful went through those things that weren't pretty. It wasn't the most popular. It wasn't what everybody was doing, to find out who they were, and it catapulted them to understand how to have longevity in the person that you see them at that time. Yep. Versus the person here who's just doing it for Instagram, that they might not even give you the chance to see who they really are because they know that they're not really doing those things. So again, understand what we're talking about here. You can sit down with somebody who's successful, and I promise you, they're going to say if not similar things that what we're talking about. And that's not to say we're special or anything like that, but we take success that important that we study these things and we've learned these things so that we can share it with others and bring others with us. So the ones that are listening to this and are respecting this message and are going to take this information and use it and better their lives, respect to you for understanding that it don't matter who the messenger is. The message is correct. And I appreciate you sharing that story because it ain't the most glamorous story. It still might go over some people's heads. Absolutely. But the people that understand and the people that's in them trenches every day, y'all know what he's saying is what's really real. And we wouldn't be sitting here today doing all these things if it wasn't for a story like that. So, as always, man, if you got something from this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. Let us know what you thought about it, man. Let us know what other topics you guys want to talk about. If you want to reach out to us in private, if there's things that you're dealing with that you would like us to look into and make an episode on. Let us know. We're trying to build a community here where we're becoming more self-aware so that we all can become successful in the way that we need to, so we can make the biggest impact that we need to make as a collective. You know, that's what Strive to Achieve Together is Stat is about. That's what From the Seven Podcast and Deuce and Stat and this whole platform is about. Everybody you see sitting on this couch, that's what it's about. So again, our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you got something from this, show us love. And for the ones that always have been showing love, we appreciate you guys. You guys keep us going. And it's another great episode. And remember, stay focused on the mission and run your race. It's only a matter of time before you get the success that you create. Continue to grind, continue to be self-aware, continue to put that work in to become the best version of you. And let's keep winning, man. And, you know, until next week, man, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, it's Deuce and Stat. We'll catch y'all.
Catch y'all on the next one.
Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes.